There we go. And we do have a quorum. Okay. Well, again, welcome this morning. Thanks to everybody who's online and all who are here. And thanks to Trilly. Trilly brought in some goodies and we were all laughing, saying, you know, if you're online, you're missing some good treats today. But thank you all for jumping online and joining us. I think we do have a quorum, so we'll officially go ahead and call this meeting to order. And to start off, why don't we just have whoever's online, just say who's with us, and then we'll go around the room and just say who's in the room, so you guys know as well. We'll start with those online first, please.
Yes, mommy. Bye-bye.
Eddie Barnes.
David West, Jessamine County Judge Executive.
Todd Blanton, one-stop operator, Kentucky Career Centers, Bluegrass.
Jennifer Hayes, Project Director, Equus Workforce Solutions.
Is that it? Yeah. I think that's it online. Well, we'll start around the room. We'll start over here. Robin's up front with us. Robin, go ahead.
Robin Richmond, ad program assistant.
Colin Mosley, the workforce accountant.
Woods Adams, Lake County Judge Executive.
Dan Goodson, Manager Section at Lincoln County.
Linda Gordon, Mayor of Lexington.
Sarah Steele, Judge Executive in Mercer County.
Tiffany Reeves, Workforce Director, ad.
Tony Watson, certificate of
Trilly Bonham, Judge Executive, Bull County.
Hannah Gregory, Quality Control Manager here at Bluegrass. Rachel Adams, Compliance Manager at Bluegrass. And we've got some back there with us. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, didn't know we did, we're starting that. Stacy May, Public Information Officer, Bluegrass Ad.
Along the Backer Business Service Manager.
Thank you, Dr. Todd. I think that got everybody right. Well, we'll jump right in today, and jump right into our action items. So the first action item that we have on the list today is review and approval of minutes from the 9/10/25, the joint meeting, and that starts on page 2. I believe it runs through 2 through 4. There's 3 pages of that. You guys received that in your packet, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to review that if needed. And then when you're ready, I will entertain a motion to accept those.
Move approval.
All right, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further questions or discussion on the minutes? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approval of the 9/10/25 joint meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next action item is number 2, review and approval of the finance report from August, September, and October. And that begins on page 5, and Colin's here with us this morning if he wants to
Yes,
go over that with us.
well, I would love to. So for, August 2025, there on page 5, we were at 14% expending on our overall budget for the year. And that compares to 16% at the same time in, the prior year. Our admin costs were at about 17% compared to 12 in the prior year. Our adult expenditures were at 19% compared to 22 in the prior year. Dislocated worker program had spent about 6% compared to 12% in the prior year. Youth was at 15% compared to 14 in the prior year. And then at that point, our youth work experience was at about $111,000. That total of 225,000 that we need to spend by the end of this year. So we're tracking well on that. And then you can see at the bottom, we've got just the breakdown of our Equus invoices. Those July and August invoices have already been paid out to Equus at this time. And then the next 4 or 5 pages are just the individual breakdowns of each of those programs. And then that last page is gonna show you what the grant balances were for the that point in time. That's how much we had in each of those grants. So if I don't have any questions about August. Yes, ma'am.
I just have sort of a general question to remind myself. So
Within the, different areas, adult, dislocated worker, et cetera, seems like at one time, and I'm trying to remind myself what the rule is, we can switch monies between accounts. Is that all accounts or is it just certain?
It's only for the, so the way it works is adult and dislocated worker, if there's a good enough reason, they will allow us to, transfer monies between them. So right now, what we are operating on in our adult funds is a transfer that we did last year of $700,000 from dislocated workers that's now allocated for adult. So that is what we are doing right now. For the youth, we can switch some monies from youth out of school and youth in school as we need them as well, but youth stays with youth, adult dislocated worker stays with those two together. Yep, they kind of.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Well, I will move to September. So at the end of September, our overall budget was at 23% expended compared to 26 at the same time in the prior year. Our admin costs were at about 28% compared to 20% in the prior year. Our adult expenditures were 31% expended compared to 35 in the prior year. Dislocated worker program was at 13% compared to 18 in the prior year. Youth was at 25% compared to 21% in the prior year. And then our youth work experience was about 114,000. And you can see the breakdown on those invoices. August has been paid, September has been paid. We did find out that in the September, we did have, Equus had revised an invoice and we get paid on the old invoice. And so there's like $2,000 that I'm getting ready to get that one pushed through this week to get them caught up on September. But that one is all caught up as well. Other than that, that was tied to the Putting Young Kentuckians First grant. The original invoice we had was about 28,000, and this other one, it just adjusted some costs, and it was supposed to actually be about 30,000. So we're gonna get that covered. And then at the end of the September report, you can see where our grant balances were. And I do want to remind everyone, I think I actually have not told you guys at this group, but we did add extra reports to this to give the Putting Young Kentuckians First grant and the NDWG grant that we've got with the DOL. Give it the same treatment as our WIOA allocations. So you can see the information on those. There's individual reports within the budget reports, and then there's also on that grant balances page at the very end. There's the heading that says allocations for non-formula funds. That's gonna show you where we're at on those grants. And that's where you also will see the trade funding for that very small pot of money that we have for trades. It's out there. So.
Can you remind me what DOL is?
Oh, Department of Labor, yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Yeah,
Like,
that's
all the
what's straight through
acronyms
the
just
Department of
went-
Labor. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
And those funds are focused on the depot in Oklahoma layoffs, where we went after that grant. Received that, so yes.
Yes, that's a $2 million that we're working on those layoffs.
I was having to really focus on those,
Yeah.
my eyes.
See if I can get that a little bit bigger next time.
Well, on a computer, you can zoom in, but you
Yeah.
print it out. My old eyes. have
Or
to
it's used,
focus.
right? Absolutely. Questions about September, this one? If not, I will flip on into October and wrap us up. So, at the end of October, our overall budget was at 34% expended, and we were at 32% the prior year. Admin costs were, at approximately 46 compared to 28% in the prior year. Adult expenditures were about 45% compared to 42 in the prior year. Dislocated worker costs were at 18 compared to 22 in the prior year. And youth expenditures were at 34%. We were at 27 at the same time in the prior year. And then I can report, so September has been paid. We're getting that extra non-WIOA youth money paid out to Equus this week. And then the October invoice, I did just get today, overnight, the confirmation from the state that those funds are coming. They should be in our account tomorrow, and we'll issue the EFT to Equus. That October will be paid. That October one should be paid by Thursday. So that is the plan on that. And then if you'll flip through to the last page there, that's our current status on our grants. Here in the next day or so, I'm going to be submitting our works reports to the state to update us for November. And at that time, I'll also get our November report together and it'll update. But these are the current balances until I reconcile our books into that updated report for November. We're tracking really well in all programs, and I'm open to any questions.
Have a, this is outside the budget question. Did we, this is to remind myself maybe, did we have an audit done this year already?
Yes, Michael's actually upstairs. I think he might be wrapping up something with type that, but there was an audit done. He gets in. We have to upload that audit to the state within 30 days of the completion of this year.
Has the board seen it?
It's gonna be presented today at the executive committee meeting.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you. I'm just catching up
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Colin on August, September, or October? Reports? Thank you, Colin. So I guess I will entertain a motion to accept those as presented.
Come in.
All right,
Second.
a motion and a second. Any further questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the August, September, and October financial reports as presented, please say aye. Any opposed, like sign? Motion carries. The third item on the agenda is the Stable Recovery Initiative. So Tiffany, I will hand that over to you. Looks like we're moving to page 35.
30, yes, so, for any individual that is not aware of Stable Recovery, they are, an addiction recovery center, and they are a very wonderful organization to work with. Whenever we reached out to them to try to figure out how to help them, like with OJTs, work-based learning and all that, we realized that what they pay the individuals, because it's connected with tailor-made farms, okay? When individuals are going through Stable Recovery, they place them at different farms around the bluegrass. Because it has been shown that there is benefit to individuals that are in recovery and things like that, working with animals and stuff. So when we met with them to try to figure out how we could work together, we realized that what the individuals were paid while they were going through this horsemanship school was just $10 an hour, okay? But when you are at Stable Recovery working on your recovery, your mental health and all that, and you're going through this horsemanship school, you're getting paid, right? But there's also benefit with that because you have your housing, you have food and all that. Our OJT policy, states that it has to be $15 an hour for any positions that we're gonna do OJTs within Fayette County. Whenever we presented to our board, because our board approved this and the WIB board approved this initiative at the what was it, the 14th? What, I don't even know, in December, it was early December. All the meeting dates run together on me. I'm so sorry for not having that wrote down specifically. But what we're asking is for you all to approve as well. You can look through and see a breakdown of everything that the individuals, if we broke it down by what they're being compensated, right, while they're at stable recovery, by the housing, the electric, the transportation, the food, and all that, it equals out to $14.97, which is just 3 cents, you know what I mean, less than 15. But what we're asking is in that very first thing that you all would approve an exemption for 15 stable recovery individuals for 15 OJT slots. So,
And Tiffany, is this, I think you said $15 in Fayette. Is every county different?
well, Roland, where you at? I'm gonna hand that off in our policy.
Yeah, so, and I don't have the counties in front of me, but we base it off of the, they call it RUC, RUTC, and it's the rural counties. I forget what the other part stands for, but it's what KY stacks, goes by what they identify as a rural county and what's not a rural county. So what we looked at is the larger urban counties. We have wanted them to pay at least $15 and more, just kind of depending on what DOL seems like a pretty good paying job for those counties. But the smaller counties that can't really offer those type of opportunities, we do labor market information for those counties to see what the going rate for those particular positions, and then we base it off of that. So theirs says 15 as well. It's just that we have to make an exception for theirs as well. That if that particular paying job is going, say, for $12.50, and that's the going rate for that particular county, then we base it off of that.
So that's our policy, not a state.
Correct.
Okay.
And within those counties that we have the 15 is Fayette, Scott, Madison,
Fayette, Scott,
there's one more.
I think Bourbon's one of those.
Yeah.
Without looking, I'm sorry, I didn't have it in front of me, but yeah.
But you're asking for an exemption because of the support services, and you're asking for at least up to 15 spots.
Yeah, because our OJT policy states that any organization can have 15 OJTs, right, per year. And what we're doing is we're just saying this program year, right, because July 1 starts another, you know what I mean, starts a new program year. And if this takes off the way that we think it is, I think that we'll have to maybe look at our policy a little more, because there's no reason for us to, because we had even talked to the Child Care Council about working with some of their child care facilities, and they don't pay $15 an hour, right? So the thing that we had talked about is at the first of the year, we may have to actually readjust our OJT policy. We're just digging in a little more to make sure on that, but this is the initiative that, yes, that we're seeking approval for, just for the exemption for the 15 slots with stable recovery.
So, I don't know, how many of you have been to stable recovery. It is one of the most successful addiction recoveries around. And they're getting ready to expand. They purchased the farm next door, and they're gonna build another facility for men. They do men only. And then, Spy Coast Farm, which has employed several of the graduates from Stable Recovery, is going to start a women's program. This is phenomenally successful. And so I would like to make a motion to approve this exemption.
And include up to 15 spots.
Yes,
Okay,
the way it's.
the way it's written, the way it's requested. Okay. All right, so we have a motion by Mayor Gordon. Do I have a second on that motion? All right, second on that motion.
So now, the second part to the question is basically similar to the same, because this first one is about the adult and dislocated worker funds.
We need to move on this first.
A different motion.
Yeah, so, yes, okay, so we have a motion and a second. Before we jump to that, all in favor of approval, please say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? All right, Motion carries. Now, no, keep rocking. You're on.
I'm excited whenever we're helping. I know.
Good things.
Yeah,
Yes.
good things. So it's basically the same the exact same thing, but with this first that you all voted on, it's for our adult and dislocated worker funding streams, right? So whenever we spoke, with Christian and them at Stable Recovery, they also talked about how usually they have about 5 or 6 a year that are under the age of 24, okay? So we have our Putting Young Kentuckians First funding that is, right? So it's the same thing, right? It's just
Specific funding.
specifically for the Putting Young Kentuckians First funding. It would be 15 slots, you know what I mean, with the exemption, exact same thing, just to the different funding
So
streams.
essentially, we're giving 30 slots, but just with 2.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And now, like I said, whenever, we met with Christian, typically individuals that are 24 and below, they haven't hit rock bottom yet. Right, but they do have to realize that they need help, but they do have a few, so we wanted to make sure and open that up, as well.
I love it. So I'll entertain a motion to accept that as well.
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Lawrence on the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Lonnie Watson. Any further questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving the Putting Young Kentuckians First, with the 15 slots amended as requested, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Great. All right, well, moving down, we do have some informational items today. The first item is the spring 2026, which sounds so crazy to say, spring of 2026. Almost didn't get through that. Tiffany, if you want to take over on that one as well, this is your item as well.
The Spring SETA Conference, for those that aren't familiar with what SETA is, it's the Southeast Employment Training Association. It's where you bring workforce professionals across. Typically, it's 8 states, but there's been SETAs that we have people from.
There's 20 states.
20 states. So, this one coming up, it's March 1st through the 4th. It is in Orlando. I know that Judge Bottoms is going to attend. Judge West attended the one in, what was it? Biloxi. We have another slot available for a Leo, should they want to attend. all you would do is email Robin. I'm very excited about this one. We were chosen, Hannah her session was chosen for quality control. Anybody that doesn't realize the importance of monitoring your quality control person within WIOA, we need to have a big old discussion, because that's our checks and balances to make sure that there's no disallowed calls there and our monitoring reports are good. And then with our childcare initiative, we have, it's going to be a panel. Robin's session was chosen, and it will be me, Debbie Link, that's with the Child Care Council, Crystal Dean, who's with the direct service provider, with our child care initiative. We set in play to take and focus on helping individuals start their own in-home daycare is the partnership that we did, because whenever, I don't know about you all, but whenever my kids were younger and I wanted to go back to work, it was a very intimate thing to see who was going to be watching my babies, what are they going to be feeding them, what are they going to be talking to them about, and all that. So, but the other side of that, whenever you have one in-home daycare, you have the opportunity to put 6 to 8 parents to work, right? So it helps the economy. So that session also got chosen. Robin, what day did we tell the board? The 15th? And so if you all are interested in going, if any other Leo would be interested in going, just let Robin know by January 15th, whenever you all attend. The 5th. Oh, okay.
Yeah. What are the dates of that conference?
It's March 1st through March 4th. It's right there and I keep looking at Amy because she is, the at-large Kentucky Center rep. It's at the Orlando SeaWorld. Tail, that's all I'm gonna say.
So we want to get you in early and make sure that if anyone wants to go, they can get in the conference hotel and not the overflow.
Yeah, because they do have overflow ones, and a lot of times, like, you think, oh my gosh, that's in walking distance, but yeah, really, it's in a hard walking distance. That's just me. So it's always best to, try to get it right there in the conference hotel. So I think that's all I got on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we have Matt Montgomery. We have the WIB treasurer. It says retiring, so Tiffany, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Stacy Neal tag team this one. Okay. Matt informed us that, he's gonna step off of our board, April, is when he'll come off of it. Just because he's made a very positive impact, being on our board, and I think he wants to go and help some other boards, that he's involved with. Stacy, is there anything that you wanna tag on with it?
No, other than, because of that, Matt does serve as both the treasurer and the chair of the finance committee, so, we'll be holding the WIB board, we'll be holding an election to, fill that spot, on the executive committee. And then we'll obviously be adding a new member, with him rolling off of the overall board. So just a heads up that the co-CEOs will be receiving, a nomination form, sometime in the spring to replace him.
And if you all, we can send out, the requirements for an individual to be nominated. Maybe you all know someone.
Yeah.
So we'll get those sent out.
Business representatives have a pretty, restricted list of things that they have to be able to fulfill in order to be a member, business representative, so.
So would this, replacement automatically be the treasurer and chair of
No,
the finance?
no, there's
Or
There's
that
gonna
might
be an election actually in, is it I think March, to fill that position, and Matt is going to kind of coach him through his last couple of weeks on the board on, fulfilling the requirements of what it's like to be treasurer and stuff, kind of give them tips.
He's been very wonderful. I like him so much with him.
So this will be for a member and then they will.
Yes.
Okay. Well, next we have the direct service provider report from November. I think Jennifer's on with us. It's on page 46. Jennifer, did you have anything that you wanted to report to us, ma'am?
Yes, can you all hear me okay? Okay, perfect. In that November report, I'll just hit a couple highlights in it. But every single month, we just gather some of the things that we've been doing on the frontline side. And I always will compare enrollments for like where we're at now versus where we were at last year and the year before. So I'm always keeping a trend on where we're at. Our enrollments are far beyond what we were this time last year. So enrollments are really high, and that's partially due that we do have increased staff and we have increased funding streams. So we have more funding streams now than we've ever had in my 14 years. So we're doing really good. Our Tiff's vision and my vision were the same. We wanted to touch every single county and do small cohorts in every county so that we can touch even those outlying counties that maybe historically have had lower enrollments. So I think we've done a really good job with that. We list out all of our counties in each monthly report and just hit some of the places that we're outreaching and having meetings with. We do have some NDWG grants, so National Dislocated Worker grants. And so one of those is for the Army Depot and Yokohama. And the goal that was given to us was to enroll 75 participants from there, either of those combined places, but by December the 31st. And at the end of November, we were at 71. So that goal is going to be easily achieved. And that was a goal that I thought would be tough to meet. But we've had great turnout from the Army Depot layoffs and the eagerness for them to work with us. As Tiff mentioned, Tiff and I and Hannah Phillips and some of our leadership team met with TaylorMade and Stable Recovery. So we were happy to relaunch that partnership. We had a strong partnership with them back in 22 and 23. And so we've relaunched that partnership and we're happy to do that. We've also reconnected with DV8 Kitchen, which was a partnership that we had back in 2022, 23, working with the recovery component with that. And then Revive Life Ministries in Jessamine is another recovery center that we're heavily reconnecting with that we had served before. So there's an increase in connecting back with that recovery population. And then just doing those small cohorts in each county. We're heavily involved in PAL right now. We have EMT students that are actually, they started this past week in the EMT class. We also have a cohort for Powell County to recruit for linemen for a February class. So we're seeking out people who want to do lineman work for a Powell County class. We're working with Clark County, with GRC, the high school, and the community on an EMT and fire cohort. We're actively recruiting for a January start. In Bourbon County and Clark, we're also getting ready to launch Dry Stone Mason class. And then in Harrison County, we're working with the JAG class to get them connected with the work-based learning opportunity with Edie Bullard. And in Mercer and Boyle, we did have to update our start date for the CDL class to March, but everybody was on board with that. BCTC actually suggested that. And then in Madison, EMT, and then pharmacy tech in Fayette. So lots of little cohorts going on. In addition to, I know that Tiff and Rowley are active on the ground working with all of you all with the fiscal courts for those on-the-job training opportunities with that storm grant money. So our staff's doing a great job touching all the counties with the initiatives, with the enrollments. Do you all have any questions for me?
So, anybody, questions? Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And especially for the new governing board, if you all will look on the back of Jennifer's report, there's always success stories. Behind every one of our numbers, there's a person. So yeah, so always, those are always the best parts, I think. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jennifer. This is always the good stuff when we're here. We like to see these things for each one of our counties and what's going on in the area. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
The next item on informational item is on page 53, and we have Todd here, the one-stop operator report for November.
Good morning, everybody. In your packet, you'll see my report for November. I'll hit just a couple highlights real quick. I always put the foot traffic total for our 3 centers, as well as the number of referrals that we see into the direct service provider program. So that referral number's been significantly high, especially the last 6-8 months of this year. So we're continually seeing new referrals come in. The walk-in numbers remain about the same. Always put the hiring events and VR events that we have across the centers. So I'll highlight a couple of those. Rapid responses. Rolando and I continue to do the rapid response sessions for the Army Depot project. As of December, I think we've held 22 now, and we'll continue to do those in the new year as they continue to wrap things up there. But we are promoting that NDWG grant to make sure we capture all those affected employees that are interested in going back into training. So we're continually promoting that in these rapid response sessions. In the month of November, back earlier in the year, I had submitted a proposal to the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives, and it was selected to be a session at their statewide program conference. So I presented to the group there in Louisville as one of the sessions on the partnerships with your local Kentucky Career Center. So in Bluegrass, we've got 13 basically access points that are out in public libraries across the whole area, basically, where we don't have a brick and mortar location. And it's really a good way for us to get out and be a partner in that local community without the residents having to travel into one of our centers. So we work really close with our libraries. I've worked with my contact there at the KDLA for a couple of years now, and she kind of reached out and was like, "Hey, we'd like to get you involved in this so you can highlight what you guys are doing there in Bluegrass." So presented to their statewide programming conference there in Louisville, and just talked about how we work well with our local libraries and provide workforce services in our surrounding counties where we don't have brick and mortar Kentucky Career Center offices. So that was a neat thing to do. One thing that's not on the November report, but I'll talk about real quick. Our Richmond office, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but we've always been in what was the old Kentucky River Foothills building, and they recently moved out back in July of this year. So it left a large space that we could expand into. We've got a pretty good partner relationship there. Adult Ed is there, OBR is there, and then we have our WIOA staff there. So we were really needing some space to expand into. Talk with Tiff, and then we sent the lease over to David for signature. So we've now got 3 suites there in Richmond. Adult Ed's got a nice little classroom. It gave some needed office space for our WIOA staff. So our Richmond office is expanded again just to kind of fit our needs. So that was exciting for us. But we continue, like Jennifer said, to be out in all 17 counties doing outreach. Our partnerships with the libraries are one of the ways that we're just out there at least one time a month to provide in-person services to residents. But like I said, Jennifer pretty much hit all the high points of what we're doing, but I'll take any questions that you have for me.
Questions?
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that is it on our informational items. The next item says open discussion. And I know before we move, I wrote down meeting dates. When Trilly came in, she was like, "We need to go over meeting dates again." And so I made myself a note so I wouldn't forget. If you go back to the meeting minutes and go to F, it's on page 3. I think this summarizes our future meetings. And I just wanted to touch on that and review and make sure that was what we approved, but just to draw attention to our calendars as we get ready for that 2026. So I'm kind of still cringing as I say that. So just take note of that. It looks like, March 25th is the next thing that we need to highlight on our calendars. That look right to everybody? I see that on page 3. And we've got a whole list. Is there any other discussion items that we needed to cover today?
The September 16th one, of
Mhm.
course, is the joint meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just kind of starting the planning and we don't have anything finalized, but I thought I would just mention to you guys kind of what we're looking at.
Okay.
And then at the March meeting, we'll have some things to vote on, but
Okay.
we're looking at for the location, potentially Hunt Brothers Pizza, which is outside of Paris in Bourbon County. They have a nice large meeting room that has like a test kitchen where they cook pizzas and everything. So we're kind of waiting to get dates confirmed to make sure we're okay. Another option is Mustard Seed Hill, which is also in Bourbon County. And Shaker Village at Pleasant Hill. So then we've got some potential speakers too, but like I said, it's kind of a puzzle with our funding and everything, so cheaper location leads to more money to spend, so, but we're looking at Curtis Campanelli. Anyone who's been to SETA would probably be familiar with him. He's a great motivational speaker. Coach D. Daryl Andrews is a coach, and he talks a lot about teamwork. And Dwight Bain, who's a leadership coach. And if anybody has any other suggestions, feel free to email me. Someone you have that might be an interesting speaker, we'd be happy to look into it.
And the way that the joint meeting goes is one year the whip votes on the location and the speaker, the next year the Leos, so this year you're all.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
So, since we're open discussion, I had two things. I know that everybody in here is highly focused on jobs, and I think you all probably saw that the national numbers came out this week, or maybe yesterday or today, that our unemployment's going up, and it makes me quiver a little bit. And, sometimes we don't necessarily follow the national numbers, which can be good. But I just, think we're sort of going into a bit of a risky time. I don't know if anyone else feels that. But it's all to say, we just keep our nose to the grindstone, right? And keep focused on it. The other's a bit of a happy, just a happy, observance that I wanted to, I think this is your first chair, Dave, of the Leo Executive Committee, and it could be, David, a historic moment. I don't know that two women have ever co-chaired a Leo Executive.
So watch out.
I don't think that's ever happened, has it?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, just for what it's worth. So, anyway, thank you for
Yes,
your
yes.
chair.
Thank you, yes. All right.
That's it, unless you.
You guys have anything else? Any other points anybody online, any points or discussion points that you, before we adjourn? All right, well, if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Okay. Motion and second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.